Hello, Jackie Cutforth here with Rolling Hills Farm, and today I'm going to give you some tips on growing lettuce. So we are here by this row of Butter Crunch lettuce, and that's my goats and my sheep. You can hear in the background. They're going to give their 2 cents too. But okay, we're here by this Butter Crunch lettuce, and you can see that my row is not very big. It does go that way for a little bit, but you can see that it's kind of small. And although this is a smaller little section than we normally do, we always do smaller sections because lettuce is prone to aphids, okay? And so if we had all of our lettuce in one area, those aphids would spread pretty quickly, and then we would have no lettuce. So we plant multiple plots all throughout our gardens. We have 4 gardens. They each have lettuce in them, and they're spread out probably at least 20 feet apart, okay? So you want to have, it's kind of like don't put all your eggs in one basket, okay? Keep them spread out. And we do that with a lot of our crops too. We just kind of have different varieties spread out, or even just in different areas, so that because we're organic farmers and we're not going to use any chemicals or pesticides or anything like that. So we just keep it spread out. We have multiple options then of what would be good. And there are some options for organic farming, but like the neem oil or the insecticidal soap, they kill aphids. You have to spray it a lot, and they kill aphids, but they leave a flavor on the food. And so sometimes that's okay if you have something that's easy to wash off, like a tomato or an eggplant or something, and you aren't going to be harvesting it as often maybe as the lettuce. I guess later in the season you would be, but it's easier to wash off on there. And the lettuce, you don't want to have that leftover taste on there. So we don't put anything on our lettuce. If the aphids take over, we just feed it to the animals, but we do not eat it, and we go to another section. So the other thing you can see is that it is planted very closely, and that is because you will get a greater harvest if it is densely planted like this. So when I plant my seeds, I just sprinkle them like this. I don't do starts inside or anything like that and space them out. I just directly sow into the ground, sprinkling my seeds, and then we get a nice thick stand like this, and then we can just go along and harvest it, and then it takes about a week and a half, and it'll be ready to harvest again. So when I want to harvest, I'm going to gather just a clump up like this, take my little knife here. You can use just a house knife too if you like. So I have this nice big clump of lettuce, and then you just keep going till you get all the lettuce you want. This lettuce, like I said, will be ready in about a week and a half. The other thing that we do is we plant in succession so that we have a constant supply of lettuce, because lettuce, it doesn't like the heat. Once it gets warm, its lifespan is going to be shortened, because eventually it's going to bolt. That rise in temperatures sends a signal to it that it's time to go to seed. So I'm going to show you that in another garden with some other lettuce. But what I want you to know now is that we plant in succession for continual harvest. So we start in early May, and I'm planting lettuce every week, multiple varieties every week. I'm planting lettuce, and then we go to probably about the end of June, and then we take a break because we know that it's not going to come up as well when it's really hot out, and if I plant it too early, it's just going to come up and bolt right away. So we take a little break, and then we start planting about the end of July so that we can have a fall harvest of lettuce. The other thing with harvesting it like this is that it will be ready to harvest much sooner, so you get more lettuce that way. If you waited for these to go to a head, then you're going to have to wait a lot longer to get your lettuce, and like I said, it won't be as much. So this is called cut and come again harvesting. To harvest, let it grow, come again, harvest, and you get more that way. Okay, here we are in another garden with this Lolo Rosa lettuce. This is one of our favorite varieties that we grow every year. But you could see that it doesn't look the same as the Butter Crunch. Well, obviously it's frilly and it's a different color, but it's not in the nice little mound that the Butter Crunch was in. And that is because it is bolting, for one, and for two, it was the very first lettuce that I planted. So I've harvested it 4 or 5 times, and we're getting some bare spots here. But what I want to show you is that it's bolting. So you could see what that looks like, because once it gets this point, it becomes very, very bitter and just, it's not edible anymore. So I have cut this piece off so that you can see what happens. Normally, or in the beginning of the plant's life, all the lettuce, the leaves start down at the very bottom. They're every single one of them. But you could see now that they're all starting at different points, because this stalk has shot up, and now it's starting to go to seed. Now these will get 3 to 4 feet high when they get to their I don't know what to say. When they are done with their going to seed process, I guess you could say. So they do, I don't know, I just think that that's really amazing. I know my husband, the first time he saw it, he was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's lettuce that's going to seed." And he was like, "Wow, I can't believe it's so big." So that's kind of, it's always fun too, like if you have kids, for them to see this process, they could go through it all, and it's just a good thing for them to learn. So once your lettuce gets to this point, you can go ahead and you could save the seed. Make sure that if you choose to do that, that you keep your different varieties a minimum of 10 feet apart, because if they're any closer, the seeds can become contaminated, so that one variety would contaminate the other variety, and then the seed that you saved would not be true to the parent stock, okay, because the DNA is mixing of the one variety to the next. But of course, we already talked about that. We want it even further away if we can, to make sure that if there is aphids that get into it, or a bug or something, it doesn't just spread through all of our crop. So you can either save the seed, you could compost it, or feed it to your animals. Okay, this is destined for our ducks. My daughter, who takes care of the birds, she's like, "Oh, Mommy, I want to feed that to the ducks." And that's usually what happens. We give it to the ducks, or the goats, or the sheep, or the chickens, and they just gobble it right up. So nothing goes to waste here on the farm. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful for you, and I hope that you like and follow and share, so that we can help more people with their garden, and so that they can have their best garden and eat all that yummy fresh produce. So thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. Have a blessed day.